Yeah.
I tried it. It's okay. It's not bad, but I want the music in front of me. I want to feel it, and those are the feelings that I really need to have live.
Yeah.
I
Has
can't
to be
just.
tactile for you.
Yes, it's got
Yeah.
to be. It's a physical experience.
Great, great. And when you do these interviews, obviously you've probably done a few in your day. Is there any time that there's a question that you haven't been asked that you wished you had?
Probably. Uh, all I know is that I am always, strangely enough, thinking of answers to questions. Always. I really do. Because I get asked the same questions so much of the time that I like to sort of go left and right and veer off course a little bit and talk about things like we talked about the full frequency sound. I haven't
Right.
talked about that very often.
Something besides just what's Crimson and Clover about?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
Great. And I understand you might be making new records. Is that true?
New records that are going to go with the new movie, that are going to go with the new Broadway show. Yes.
Wow.
And right now, what we're working on is, along with my co-author Martin Fitzpatrick, I have a new book out called Me, the Mob, and the Music, and it's in its 7th printing.
We have a copy here. You can hold it so everybody can see
This
it.
guy right here.
There it is.
And what it basically boils down to is what I think is a very fascinating story about what happened to us. I could never talk about, and the reason I could never talk about it was because Roulette Records, in addition to being a functioning record label where we had the bulk of our hits, was also a front for the Genovese crime family in New York. And we learned this incrementally as we were joined to Roulette.
You had no idea about this, even with the other record companies saying, well, you know, we got to
heard
kind of...
rumors, but we never, it was in our face when we got to Roulette.
Wow.
And what it really boils down to is us trying to have a career in pop music with this very dark and sinister story going on behind us that we couldn't talk about. And
but it seems you had an interesting relationship with the owner of Roulette anyway.
Morris Levy, the head of Roulette Records, was every bit a gangster, but he was also the guy who made Tommy James. Without Morris Levy, there wouldn't have been a Tommy James.
Was he a music lover, or was this just another way of getting
owned
income?
The label, and he was he had pretty good ears, and he was responsible for a lot of careers, but he was every bit a thug. And the people that he thugged with were the Genovese people in New York, and many of the record company regulars, as I called them up there, the people. Roulette was used as everything from a social club to a illegal bank accounts and all kinds of shenanigans like that going on. And so the story of of Me, the Mob, and Music is that story, and how we survived that, and they had records in spite of all that, and because of all that. And the end result is that when the book came out about 18 months ago, we immediately were called for the movie rights and the Broadway rights. And so the movie, it looks like it's going to happen first, and our producer is Barbara DeFina, who produced Goodfellas and Casino and Hugo last year with Martin Scorsese, and The Last Temptation of Christ, and Cape Fear, and The Color of Money, and on and on and on. She's a genius.
Yeah.
And so she's going to be the executive producer, and we will have our director probably within the next 7 days.
Wow.
And it's very exciting now. And so it looks like the movie and the casting and all that will happen next, and then the Broadway show will be after that.
Well, you're talking about Roulette. I thought of an interesting question. the way he basically took Hanky Panky, do you think that technique helped at all with Tommy James and the Shondells getting, quote, out there?
By technique, you mean the way Morris
Correct.
promoted records? Well, listen, it wasn't it wasn't all baseball bats and threats. It was a combination, and Morris and the people at Roulette literally taught me the radio business.
Mm.
I mean, this was it wasn't like it was all dark. Most of it wasn't, as a matter of fact. There were just times when things got real scary up there, like when you went for your money and things like that. We were very fortunate at Roulette. We had 23 gold singles.
Mm.
We had 9 platinum albums. And we did, as your stats said at the beginning of the interview, over 100 million records. And we really had a marvelous time at Roulette. I left Roulette in '74, and we had several other hit records on other labels. But I must say that my time with Roulette is the time that's the most real to me, and the time that I think that as an artist, I learned more at Roulette than as I said, I got an education there I couldn't have had any other way. But I couldn't talk about these things until more recently. And when Martin Fitzpatrick and I began this book, we were going to call it Crimson and Clover. We were going to write a nice book about making hit records and writing songs. But as time went on, we got about a third of the way into the book, and we realized that if we don't tell the Roulette story, that we were cheating ourselves and everybody else. But I was very uncomfortable doing that because some of these guys were still walking around. So I basically put it on hold for another 3 years or so, and then finally in the beginning of '06, when the last of the Roulette boys passed on, we felt like we could go ahead and finish the book, and we did, and we told it like it was.
Wow. And do you think that's one of the reasons, the Roulette interest also is one of the reasons why somebody said, we got to make this a movie? Or
well, yeah. Roulette and the rock and roll and the mob is a perfect combination, for a film or for a movie. So, yeah, absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you for your time,
My pleasure.
Tommy. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.